Top 10 Psychology Books You Should Read It. Don't forget like and subscribe to receive all new. 1. The Social Animal. In my humble opinion, the best general overview of psychology ever written. Written overview of psychology quite like Elliot Aronson's classic. A must-read if you'll obtain it. I consider it the simplest presentation of Psychology 101 ever written. 2. Influence, Science and Practice. Cialdini's now infamous work deserves the quantity of praise it gets. Not only is the book easy to follow with tons of excellent examples explained in layman terms, Cialdini also spends the time to go into why these studies played out as they did. Lastly, he addresses how to defend yourself from persuasion techniques that wish to harm you rather than ethically convince you. Scammers, people selling faulty products knowingly, disingenuous attempt to persuade, etc. A true classic. 3. Yes. 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Persuasive. Don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed this book, but just be forewarned that this should be used as a complement to the other more comprehensive entries on this list. While the book is informative, the studies are grazed over pretty quickly, not much depth is given to a person's study. It does bring an excellent rabbit hole read. This is where you discover out a few study, search more about it, find more related studies, and go down the rabbit hole, checking out new material. A great start line to getting your feet wet during a sort of persuasion-related studies. 4. Thinking, Fast and Slow. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of my all-time favorites. Trying to travel over what this book digs into would take me an entire post in itself, so allow me to only gush. This book is damn awesome, read it. Mr. Kahneman holds a Nobel Prize in economics also, and this aspect shines through within the book's many examples. 5. Switch, How to Change Things When Change is Hard. The Heath brothers, Dan Heath and Chip Heath, put out a number of my favorite material on the topic of persuasion. Specifically, why is it so hard to vary things that became commonplace? Other entry on this list, and incredibly readable, you'll tell that tons of effort was put into breaking the book down into appropriate sections and making it easy to select up by anyone. 6. The Art of Choosing. This is the quintessential read on how citizenry make choices and what external influences affect those choices. I first found Sheena Iyengar's run through checking out about her infamous JAM study through a web publication. Needless to mention, I used to be fascinated by the thought that choice can actually overwhelm, causing people to delay choosing instead of enjoy the additional options offered. It's an incredible read and really enjoyable all the way through. I happen to think about Sheena, an excellent writer, also as an excellent researcher. 7. Priceless, The Myth of Fair Value. Human beings have zero understanding of intrinsic value. We are heavily influenced by contextual clues once we examine things like price and cost. This has been shown via a variety of studies, and this book offers an outstanding analysis of the literature. You'll be very surprised to ascertain just how easily marketing departments can influence our perception of things with subtle tweaks to pricing, making this a crucial read for each consumer, which is all of us. 8. Stumbling on Happiness. Despite the title of this book, this isn't a self-help book by any means. It's more concerned with the process in the mind than on ways you can be your best self. One commenter acknowledged a quote that matches the book well: the rudiment is that you simply must not fool yourself, and you're the simplest person to fool. It's a fitting quote because the whole book reveals how your brain is actually hardwired into doing the precise opposite. Fortunately, Gilbert's incorporation of research and insightful anecdotes make this one among the foremost enjoyable positive psychology books out there. 9. Drive, The Surprising Truth About What Motivates Us. Again, a book which will appear to be self-help, but really isn't. Drive spends a majority of its time focusing on what gets us motivated in the workplace. It examines the intrinsic and extrinsic motivators that allow us to keep pushing, and questions which methods of utilizing both, with intrinsic being far more important, are the most effective for both employees and employers. The book may be a really important read, and that I love how Pink tackles the topic, but I couldn't help but accept as true with the very best critical review: the book has some padding. If you don't mind a couple of sections happening a touch longer than they ought to though, this book may be a must-read. 10 meaningless changes can greatly impact our behavior once we don't realize what's going on, which appears to be a majority of the time. As a sample, inspect his famous pricing study on The Economist. You'll see how small changes can really play with our perception of things. I would put this book squarely on the understanding your brain category during this list, but this book also has some fantastic insights on persuading others if you closely examine the given examples. Thank you for watching. Don't forget like and subscribe to receive all new. Go to the description and watch more videos.